Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Wednesday today here, as we're going to come in and talk some baseball for you guys. I'm giving you the scores and updates from the last 2 days, as we usually do on this show. I mean, it's been a lot these even since Monday. We've had shuffling around the league. As I said, I'm like, well, half these divisions are half game differential. That's about it, and anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. And at any point, I mean, looking at the updated schedule, updated from now, I mean, honestly, it looks like the people actually have got, some teams actually have gotten a little more room. The A's and Astros are tied again on top of the American League West at 76 and 76. And, I mean, you gotta wait and see. I mean, we have 30 some odd games to go for most of these teams. Phillies are 2 back. The Rockies are a game and a half back. The Dodgers actually have kind of fallen off a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row to the Cardinals, who are now actually, the Cardinals just leapfrogged to the Brewers. So you have the Brewers falling out of it, and the Cardinals charging towards the top, as the Cubs did make a deal yesterday with the Nationals, who have just, I guess, given up, as they're now 7.5 back. I mean, they're 63. Yeah, that's about right. That's the time where you're going to start moving some pieces, and they put Daniel Murphy out there to be grabbed, and the Cubs were able to get him, and they made a deal, I think, sending over a draft pick and some cash considerations or something like that for Daniel Murphy. So that's how it's going to work out, and he'll be. I mean, with the Cubs, we'll talk about the Cubs in the NL Central in the third segment, but they also have, there's situations with the Cubs and how Chris Bryant's going to come back from injury and other things like that. So you have options. You can put Javi Baez at shortstop. You can put Javi Baez at third base and have Addison Russell play short. And then you have, obviously, at the second base, Daniel Murphy. He's not great at second base, but it's doable, and it works. And, I mean, you're not going to put him at first. Rizzo plays first. So, I mean, that's the problem in the National. I mean, if the National League ever does, we get a universal DH, it'll make it a lot easier to field players and to field the rosters. I mean, the A's, they have Chris Davis. Chris Davis DHs pretty much every day. Chris Davis really can't play in the National League because he can't throw, but he hits long home runs. He has 35 plus home runs. I'll probably talk about a home run in a minute here from him, as he hit one against the Rangers again. He just absolutely rakes against that team, and it's not really fair. I mean, no, it's fair, but it's just hilarious. And he rakes against that team. It's like almost like a meme at a certain point. All right, let's jump into it. Monday, Giants and Mets from New York, starting off a series at Citi Field. The Giants win in extra innings 2-1. Both these teams are just, kind of battling through the end of the season, trying to get through the offseason, see what they could do in the free agency, see what they're going to do coming in with their injuries, and Cespedes with the Mets, and Posey now with the Giants. They're going to have to get surgery on that hip. I think they haven't scheduled the surgery yet, but they're going to let him play because it can't really get worse, apparently, whatever the hip injury is, and then he's going to have a surgery on it over the off season or in the next couple of weeks here. We'll find out. But the Giants win 2-1 in 13 innings of baseball there. The starters for this one: Derek Holland was good, went 5 innings of 1-run ball, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for him. It was actually Zach Wheeler on the other side for the Mets, the former Giants farmhand who was traded back in 2011, I want to say, for Carlos Beltran, as it was a 7-inning outing for Wheeler, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts for him. As I don't think there was no home runs in the game on Monday. 2-1 was the final. Braves beat the Pirates 1-0 as they get a great start from I guess it was Wilson. Got the start for them. Bryce Wilson got the start for them as he went 5 shutout innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for him. They used 5 more pitchers after that to finish it off for that bullpen there for Atlanta pitching well. Chris Archer is the tough luck loser. He only lasted 4 innings of work because, I mean, he had 76 pitches through 4 innings of work. He was and did not have a lead. So I guess Clint Hurdle trying to go along. That's how it is now. You don't have a lead. You're getting a third time through the lineup. Analytics are telling everybody that starting pitchers are much, much worse during the third time through the lineup unless they're absolutely shoving, which, I mean, Chris Archer could have been just laboring through those 4 innings of work. He had to give up a run on 5 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So, I mean, Clint Hurdles knows what he's doing, and he took him out there as they didn't give up a run the rest of the game. But the final score was 1-0 as the Braves scored in the very first inning. Blue Jays and Orioles from Toronto as the Blue Jays get the win 5-3. Marco Estrada moves to 7-9 now on the season. The home runs came from Kendrys Morales, actually 2, his 15th and his 16th. And for the Orioles, they got a home run from their young third baseman. That's Renato Nunez. He hit his 3rd home run of the season for the Orioles as the starter for the Blue Jays was Estrada, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, a homer allowed as he pitched pretty nicely. Indians and Red Sox from Boston. The Indians get the win on Monday as this is a very good series here as the Corey Kluber beats Rick Porcello. Porcello gave up 5 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 3 home runs allowed through 7 innings of work. Those home runs came from Melky Cabrera, his 5th, and Michael Brantley, his 14th, and then Greg Allen hit his 2nd of the season for the Indians, all off Porcello. Corey Kluber gave up 3 runs on 9 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts through 6 1/3 innings pitched for the Indians. Rays and Royals from Tampa Bay as the Rays win 1-0 again, another 1-0 game here. As Yarbrough gets the win in relief because, I mean, he doesn't start games, but Hunter Wood started the game. And then it was Ryan Yarbrough came in and got the win. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched of shutout ball, 2 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He just comes in out of the bullpen. That's kind of how they're doing it down there in Tampa Bay with just the one starter being Blake Snell, and that's it. The lone run in this game came from actually it was a challenged play. Willie Adames singled. I think the plate was overturned as the Rays got their run, and that's all they would need to win that one 1-0. White Sox and Twins 8-5 was the final. This one, Lucas Giolito gets the win in this one as he goes 6 innings of 3-run ball, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a homer allowed, and that was to Cave, his 6th of the season. Max Kepler also hit his 17th of the year. The right fielder there, that's Jake Cave. For the Twins, he is 6th, and then Kepler is 17th as they got beat up there at home. 8-5 was the final in Minnesota. I'm trying to see home runs for the White Sox came. Matt Davidson hit his 18th of the year for the White Sox. There you go. Brewers and Reds from Milwaukee as the Brewers win 5-2. They need to keep winning to keep pace with that hot Cardinals team. But 5-2 is the final for the Brewers as they win. And the only 2 runs for the Reds scored on a home run by Eugenio Suarez and one by Phillip Ervin. Those were the only 2 runs they were able to score. Christian Yelich hit his 20th of the year for the Brewers. Travis Shaw added his 25th of the season as Chase Anderson gave up 2 runs on 2 hits, those 2 home runs, 6 strikeouts, and through his 6 innings of pitching. Moving on, the A's shut out the Rangers 9-0 as they get big hits in this one. The young center fielder there for the A's, that's Ramon Laureano, hit his first 2 career home runs in this one off Bartolo Colon. Chris Davis added his 37th of the season, and Stephen Piscotty hit his 16th of the year. And this one is Mike Fiers was excellent. 7 shutout innings of 1 hit ball, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for Fiers as he's making do on that trade the A's made just about a month ago, and they get the win 9-0. Cardinals beat the Dodgers 5-3 as they scored 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning to break a 3-3 tie. Home runs in this game came from just the Cardinals. I think it was Jose Ramirez hit his 15th. Jed Jerko hit his 11th, and that home run from Matt Carpenter was the 34th of the year for him, and that was off Kenley Jansen, who makes his return from the DL and gives it the homer and loses the game for the Dodgers as those home runs came both off Jansen, actually Jerko and Carpenter, making it hitting back-to-back solo shots to make it 5-3, and they would win 5-3 in that one. The Mariners beat the Astros on Monday 7-4. As that's what they need. They need to keep beating up on. They didn't do well as they could have in Oakland when they were there, but they do get the win against the Astros at home. As actually, I think the Astros play the A's. The Mariners play the A's next, I think, actually, as this is all, the end of this month is all American League West playing each other. As the Astros can't get much going, as the home run for the Mariners came from Robinson Cano, actually. Robinson Cano had a great game. I think it's the 6th game back from the suspension, as he went 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored, 3 RBIs. For Cano, that's his 5th home run of the season. The Astros got a home run from Marwin Gonzalez, his 12th of the year, and that was about it. They only had 5 hits in that game, and they lose 7-4. We can go into some commentary because that's the last game of Monday. As we'll do some talk before I go over to the games from Tuesday in the next segment. Because, now we have some things to talk about here, because of Monday, I don't know, Tuesday implications as well, but, Monday, the Astros, do you smell some blood in the water? Obviously, the A's, I think, they're tied after today. The A's, they both won yesterday, actually. The A's rake against the Rangers. They don't mess around. They usually score runs in the first few innings too, as they are really the swinging A's right now, and they're also pitching it. So you think about the A's, you think about the Astros. It's going to come down to the last month. At the Astros, they have people coming back. They have Correa coming back. They have Altuve coming back. Well, actually, I think they got Correa back, but they have Altuve coming back still. Their rotation is better than the A's. The A's are pitching. They have obviously got a great start from Mike Fiers, but it's going to come down to those head-to-head games. And obviously, they've played head-to-head over the weekend. The A's got 2 out of 3, gets them closer to the goal there, which is the whole point of this whole season. You want to be able to make it as interesting as possible, and then obviously poke your head into the first place, which would be great. So the A's, they do play the Rangers today, and they have 4 in Minnesota before they go to Houston. Before they go to Houston. So the A's, they did a good job. They had back-to-back series against the Mariners and Astros. They won 4 out of 6. That's what you need to do. They beat up on the Rangers. They haven't allowed a run yet to the Rangers. I'm just going to a little sneak peek to the game for tomorrow, or the game yesterday for the next segment. They won 6-0 yesterday. They haven't allowed a run yet to the Rangers, and they played today early this afternoon. So at home, and then they go on the road for that 4 in Minnesota and then 3 in Houston before coming back home for the Mariners again. And then they get the Mariners, Yankees, and Rangers to start off September. That'll be interesting because basically September, the toughest. They don't play the Astros again. Actually, the rest of the season after that visit to Houston, they don't play the Astros at all in September. They have 2 series against the Mariners, and then 2 against the Angels. And then you have the Orioles, the Rays in there, the Rangers again, and the Angels twice. You could beat up the A's, can get a bunch more wins in September very easily compared to the Astros. The Astros remaining schedule probably won't be that as easy, but it probably won't be that hard. They have, let's see here. Oh, actually, it is kind of hard. So they have the Mariners today, and they play they go to LA, so they should be fine there playing the Angels, and they come back, just head to Oakland. They come home. They go home for Oakland, home for LA, home for Minnesota. Then they go to Boston. They got to go to Boston still, and they got to go to Detroit after Boston, which is not. Detroit, the Tigers aren't much, but still, after that tough series against the Red Sox over the weekend, you're going to roll right into Detroit, no off day. Ugh. And then you come home for Arizona, And then Seattle, if they're still in it, they're still within 3-4 games. They're going to be chomping the bit, just going after it. And then the Angels, and then you get a little bit of a reprieve. So actually, it comes down to the last week of the season. The Astros might actually have the leg up. If it does come down to the last week of the season, the Astros have the Blue Jays and the Orioles versus the A's. If I can remember correctly, but I can't because it's all convoluted. It's too convoluted. The A's have the Mariners and the Angels. So, I mean, the Blue Jays and Orioles or Mariners Angels, I think I would rather take not Mike Trout and not the other team that's behind me. So, yeah, I think the Astros had the leg up. And if it comes down to the last week of the season, obviously the A's play the Orioles too, and they play the Rays. The Rays actually are tough. The Rays are a good team. The Rays might still be over 500 actually right now. It doesn't really matter. The American League West, yeah, they're 4 games. American League East, they're 4 games over 500. The Rangers are, the Rays are, which is pretty cool. All right, they'll come back after the break. We'll cover the games from Tuesday, and then we'll go into the third segment and cover just what's going on in the NL Central, NL East, and then we'll cover the games. We'll preview the games for you tomorrow and today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Wednesday today here. My name is Tom Dougherty, been your host for the last few months here. It's been fun being the baseball host. I also do the college football edition of the football podcast. If you like football, we're getting into football season, as well as the fantasy football podcast. That's me. And I also host the technology news show on this GSMC podcast network. So many, many hats over here. We're doing baseball now as we'll go to the games for Tuesday, as we'll start in New York again with the Giants and the Mets. Mets win 6-3. They scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning after tying it up in the bottom of the 7th inning. Giants were up 2-0 for most of this game. They scored 2 in the first inning on Evan Longoria, 2-run shot, his 13th of the season. The other home run in this one came from Michael Conforto, a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th inning, his 18th of the season. That really sealed it for that one. The Giants got a run in the 9th, but that was all they would do as they lose 6-3. Braves and Pirates from Pittsburgh. Braves get the win 6-1 as Jacob Gosman was very, very good in this one as he beat Ivan Nova, who also was pretty good. Ivan Nova went 6 innings of 2-run ball, 4 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. A homer allowed. That was to Dansby Swanson. Just one of his 2, actually. He had another one later in that game. So his 11th and his 12th of the season, as Gosselin went 8 shutout innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and that was it for that one. As the Braves get the win 6-1 in Pittsburgh. Nationals beat the Phillies 10-4. Can't afford to do that as you have the Braves winning games now. And the Phillies need to keep pace, but they didn't do that on Tuesday. That's why. They're down 2 games right now. Obviously, that's a big swing. The Phillies were up a game, and then what happens when you lose 3 in a row and the Braves win 2 in a row is you get in second place. So the Nationals win 10-4 in this one. That's might be a problem. Vince Velasquez has not been very good in his last few starts, as he only lasted. Well, he actually went 4 innings of a 1-run ball, but a lot of pitches there. 58 pitches, but because this is another thing where they're not trying to. I'm thinking, a lot of pitches taken out, or no? It's just because they get into the third time through the lineup, and they're thinking he's susceptible. I mean, he's on a 4.06 ERA, so he hasn't, like I said, he hasn't pitching that great. The Phillies got a home run from a young right fielder, Roman Quinn. Roman Quinn. That's his first career home run, actually. Yesterday in D.C., the Nationals got home runs from Wilmer Defoe, his 4th, Jordan Zimmerman, his 11th, and also from pinch hitter Stevenson. This is Andrew Stevenson, also his first career home run yesterday in DC. So we're getting a lot of, like I said, we're getting a lot of call-ups. We're getting a lot of first home runs for these young guys, which is pretty cool to see. As Tanner Roark lasted only 3 innings. I mean, the Nationals used in a 9-inning game, in a game they won 10-4. By the way, they won the game 10-4. They used 8 pitchers. 8 pitchers in a 9-inning game. They won 8-4. Wow, that's how much our game that's how much it's changing these days. Baseball. That's the way it's going. They scored 5 in the 7th inning, 6th inning. You think you'd have a guy who could finish it off for you? Whatever. All right, Blue Jays and Twins. I'm sorry, Blue Jays and Orioles. I can't read the battle of the Birds in Toronto. As see, it is Sam Gaviglio. I keep saying Gaviglio. It's Gaviglio. As he was the starter for the Blue Jays, he got the win there. That's his 3rd of the season. He went 7 innings of 2-run ball, 6 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to Mullins, a young center fielder for the Orioles. That was Cedric Mullins, his 2nd of the year. As the home runs for the Blue Jays came from Ledmus Diaz, his 16th, Justin Smoke, his 19th, Henrys Morales, his 17th, and then they also got a home run, the first home run of the year for the young outfielder Billy McKinney. I also want to say it's his first career home run. A shocker. Yet again, another first career home run. Billy McKinney yesterday for the Blue Jays. So it's 3 already in the last few games. As they win, but the final score was 8-2 there in Toronto. Tigers beat the Cubs 2-1. Cubs, their bat's still quiet, even though they do acquire. They did acquire Daniel Murphy yesterday. He obviously didn't play in that game, but he will be today. I'm assuming they're in Detroit as they play a quick 2-game series today and yesterday against the Tigers. Anthony Rizzo hit his 19th of the year in the loss off Jordan Zimmerman, and that was the only home run of the game. Zimmerman was very good. 6 innings of 1-run ball, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. That homer to Rizzo was the blemish as they get the win 2-1. Indians beat the Red Sox 6-3, as the Red Sox have been beaten twice now at home by the Indians. As this is why the playoffs. This is why you have playoffs. This is why you can't assume anything. This is why it's all about teams that get hot at the end of the year. Because the Red Sox, they're going to run away with it. They're going to win the World Series. No problem. They just lost 2 in a row at home to the Indians. Imagine if this was an ALDS. They'd be going back to Cleveland right now with the Indians up 2-0. Obviously, you think Alex Cora might manage it a little different, but still, it's a stretch run. Maybe he's thinking that he has such a lead in the American League East that he should start maybe being a little more conservative, which is possible. But they still got the main lineup in there, and Nathan Eovaldi, he gave up 4 runs over 5 in the 3rd innings pitch, 10 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to Melky Cabrera, his 6th of the season. He's now turned it on really for the Indians. A nice little addition for them. Yan Gomes hit his 12th of the year later in that game. The Red Sox did not have a home run, as the Indians got a good start from Shane Bieber. He went 6 in the 3rd innings pitch, 3 runs, ball, 5 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He's now 7-2 on the year for him. He's been pretty good, at least getting those wins for the Indians. Rays beat the Royals 4-1. Blake Snell gets the win, as he was very good in this one. You thought that he would be, as he has been all year. 6 innings of 1-run ball, 4 hits, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to O'Hearn. That's the first baseman for the Royals, Ryan O'Hearn. As that's his 5th of the season, I want to say. Did I read that right? That's his 5th of the year. As the Rays got a home run from Willy Adames, his 7th of the season, and that was it for them as they get the win there. Blake Snell gets his 15th win of the season. He's still got a 2.07 ERA on the year. Yankees beat the Marlins in extra innings. It took 12 innings to beat the Marlins 2-1. The Yankees did, as they got a run in the top of the 12th inning after Austin Dean took Masahiro Tanaka in the 5th inning to tie it up. It went scoreless all the way to the 12th. Miguel Aguilar hit a sacrifice fly, not going to run, and get the win there for the Yankees, as Pablo Lopez was pretty good. 6 innings pitched, 1-run ball, 7 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for him, as the Yankees had Tanaka, who was basically the same thing. 6 innings pitched, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to what I said, Dean there for the Marlins. So that's his second career home run. Austin Dean, second of the year. All right. Going over to the Brewers and the Reds as they had a game in Milwaukee. The Reds win 9-7 in this one, a high-scoring affair as a bunch of runs were scored in the middle of this game and at the end, to be honest. As I'm looking here, as the Brewers tied it up 7-7 in the bottom of the 8th inning to only have the Reds score 2 in the 9th to take the lead and win as they tied it up on a Ryan Braun double, and then Scooter Gennett hit his 19th homer of the year to make it 8-7, and they got another run there later in the inning to make it 9-7. As the other home runs came from the Brewers, Travis Shaw his 26th, Jonathan Scope his 18th of the season for this one, split between the Brewers and the Orioles, of course. But the Brewers, they made a bunch of moves. They made a bunch of moves in the offseason, but made a bunch of moves during the trade deadline, and now they're in third place. The Cardinals caught them, and they leaped in front of them, actually. They got plenty of time to leap back in front, but they got to get going here as they can't afford to lose games late to the Reds. But like they did yesterday, 9-7 was the final. Twins beat the White Sox 5-2 in South Chicago as they get the win there as the home runs. And this one came from the White Sox. Delmonico hit his 6th of the year. Jan Moncada hit his 16th of the season. The Twins did not have a home run, but they have Jose Barrios as he went 5 innings of 1-run ball, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a homer allowed. As those were the only 2 runs the Twins would score. Those 2 home runs, they lose 5-2. Padres beat the Rockies 4-3 as Robbie Erlin beats Tyler Anderson in this one. Erlin went 5 innings of 3-run ball, 5 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to Chris Iannetta, his 9th of the season. The Padres got a home run from Eric Hosmer, his 13th, and Austin Hedges, his 10th of the season, as Anderson gave up that 1 extra run, 4 runs on 10 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, 2 home runs through 6 1/3 innings pitched. He takes the loss as the Padres win 4-3. Angels and D-backs. D-backs win 5-4 at home. Boxberger gets the win as they got a walk-off victory in this one. It was a sacrifice bunt by A.J. Pollock, so a suicide squeeze, I'm assuming, to win, or at least a sacrifice bunt and a throwing error by Cam Bajosian that allowed John Jay to score from second base. I bet she was first and second and 1 out, or no outs, and they bunted and threw the ball away, and that's how you can win a baseball game sometimes in the major leagues even. Giants won a playoff game like that in 2014. All right, looking at the home runs here, I think it was just there's 2, one from David Peralta, his 24th of the season, and the other one from Jeffrey Marte, his 5th of the year for the Angels, as the D-backs, though, win in walk-off fashion 5-4. A's shut out the Rangers for the second night in a row. This one was 6-0 was the final. We talked about it a bit ago, as they actually had only 1 home run. Chris Davis did have to hit a home run in the bottom of the 7th inning, his 38th of the season. As the starter for the A's was Brett Anderson, was very good. 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, no walks, or no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts for him. So 7 shutout innings for Anderson is very nice. They just keep getting these shutout performances back to back now. Fiers and Anderson, those are 2 guys you didn't think were ever going to be close to Mike Fiers obviously being an acquisition during the season, and then Anderson, where did he come from? Back on the team. Remember the A's? They didn't know who their starters were going to be after the injuries. Crazy. Cardinals beat the Dodgers 5-2 in LA again, as they got 3 runs in the top of the 3rd inning off Hyun-Jin Ryu to really set the tone in that one. Home runs came from Manny Machado, his 29th of the season. The Cardinals had one from Yadier Molina, his 16th, and Marcelo Ozuna, his 16th of the year as well, as the Cardinals win and continue to keep pace with the Cubs, or at least gain ground on the Cubs. Actually, the Cubs lost. 5-2 was the final. In the final game of Tuesday, the Astros did beat the Mariners 3-2 in Seattle. They get the extra run there in the 6th to make it a 3-1 game. The Mariners tried to come back, but that was all they would get is 2. As there were no home runs in this game. Very well pitched game, except the Astros did The Astros did exactly what the look at that. The Astros didn't have a starter for this game, so they did what the Rays did. AJ Hinch, taking a page out of the book of Kevin Cash, he did an opener. He had an opener. One of their main relievers is what Brad Peacock, and he came in and pitched an inning in the third to start the game off. And you had I think this is kind of the piggyback guy, Framber Valdez, came in and pitched 4 1/3 innings pitched of no run, just one unearned run. And that was it. I mean, Ozuna gave a run later, but that was all they needed to win that game. And that was the final, 3-2. All right, we'll come back after the break, and we'll do some talk on the NL Central, NL East, and the Astros a little bit, and we're going to wrap it up there at that segment, and we're going to cover the games, preview the games for Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll send you off and back on Friday. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Wednesday today here, as we're going to come back on Friday and cover those games that I'll preview for you in a minute here. But, I mean, this is getting testy. I mean, the Cardinals are making it interesting. They threw their hat right back in the ring. The Dodgers are on thin ice right now. They might not make the playoffs. I mean, the thing is, maybe thin ice is a little 3.5 games back with a few games with 127 games, so that's actually that's closer than I thought it was. So you're over that 40 mark. You're inside the 30s right now with games left for the Dodgers as they sit 3.5 back. They've lost 7 of the last 10, and they're now, let's check at the wild card, as they actually are 2.5 back of the wild card with 2 teams ahead of them. The only problem is the Rockies aren't slowing down. The Rockies have won 8 of the last 10. They're a game and a half back of the Diamondbacks. They could honestly win the division if they really pushed harder. As the Rockies have been very good. They've won, I think, 36 of the last 15, or 36 and 15 or something like that, the last 40 games. But that's not math. Their last 40 games, so last 60 games, something like that. So they've been playing very well since June, and they can continue that. But the thing is, I think that's the teams that have been playing since July-ish, like the A's, can push it into September, and then October is what you need to do, and obviously having the rotation to do that. I mean, we can start identifying teams and start. We have identified teams. We can identify the teams that are already in it, like the Indians. They're good. The Indians are in it. They have 3 top starters to go out there. For the playoffs, you're going to have Kluber, you're going to have Bauer, and you're going to have Carrasco. I don't know. They're all right-handers, which is, I guess, nobody really cares anymore. Whether you're mixing it up, either there's going to be all lefties or all righties. I mean, there's some teams that the Dodgers have all lefties, literally. If they make the playoffs, we'll see if they do that. But I mean, the Red Sox, they got Sale and Price, left-handed. Then you have Porcello as your righty if you want to throw him in there. If you think that he's not maybe the guy you want, you have Eduardo Rodriguez as well, but he's left-handed, and others are Drew Pomeranz left-handed, but options. So as far as it goes, those are the teams that are in the division. Those are the 2 teams that are winning their division by more than 8 games, because the Yankees are actually 8 games back. The Twins are 13 games back. The Indians have gone on a tear. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 9 of the last 10 actually. They won 2 in Boston, which is nice, and they've extended their lead to 13 games now in the American League Central, and that's the highest, definitely the highest deficit. Other than that, 8 games in the East, 2.5 in the National League Central, 2 in the National League East, and then 1.5 in the National League West. And of course, we know the A's and the Astros are tied, 76 and 50. The A's are 26 games over 500. 26 games over 500 for a $68 million payroll. And you got multiple, well, not multiple, but the Angels, the Giants, the Nationals, and that's it. All have those are the team. I mean, if the Dodgers don't make the playoffs this year, honestly, but those teams right there, those teams all have astronomically high payrolls. Very good, very high payrolls. I mean, maybe the Angels aren't as high as I think, but they are still pretty high, and they're all underachieving greatly. And you have teams like the A's who have a cheap payroll, cheap, and they don't play in that much of a hitter's park. And I mean, yes, Chris Davis is great, but it's player development. Who's Ramon Laureano? Who is that? Who is Dustin Fowler? Who is that? I know who it is. Do you know who it is? They came from the A's farm system. Like, who's Matt Olson? Who's Matt Chapman? Who's Marcus? Well, Marcus Semien came in the trade, but I mean, they just pump these guys out over and over, and they get veterans. They bring Jen Lowry back again, finally, and starts playing well. They get Jonathan Lucroy because he had nowhere else to go. Basically, he's been playing well for them. I mean, Chris Davis goes without saying, but then so you have your options. Thinking about it. They've actually used their minor leagues quite a bit lately with Laureano coming up. They also had that Barreto come up for a little bit. They had Dustin Fowler has been up for a while. Actually, Dustin Fowler is basically taking over center field for them. And then you have Mark Canha, homegrown from San Jose, California, literally from the Bay Area, playing in his home area. I mean, what kind of story is that? You have him in left field, or it's going to be Laureano. You got Dustin Fowler in center, Stephen Piscotty. Honestly, Stephen Piscotty, that was kind of just fell in their lap. Obviously, terrible circumstances, absolutely horrid circumstances. The fact that you have to request a team to trade you because your mother she has passed away since, but she was battling cancer and on her last days or last months, and he wanted to be closer to her, and so the Cardinals traded him to the A's, and he's been a great producing great for them. And obviously, it's great that he was home and around his mother while she was on her deathbed, but it's also been a great addition for the A's in production value. He's got like 17 home run or 18. I think he hit his 18th home run the other day. So it's a great story. It's a great move by the A's and the Cardinals to be able to do that for him, and then also being able to play well. And I think he even hit a home run on the day that she passed away, or the day after she passed away. So you got to hand it to Stephen Piscotty. He's a great example of a great Major League Baseball player all around. Guy and player. So yeah, the A's. That's the A's for you. And then Jonathan Lucroy, their rotation got blown up early. Kendall Graveman got hurt. Who else were they trying to throw out there this year? I mean, he was going to be the number one guy. I think obviously Sean Manaea has been the only guy that was in the plans, I think, that actually is still pitching. They also I cannot remember who the other guy's name is. He did pitch for a little bit. Got longer. Bassett. That's right. Bassett got hurt. They have other guys as well that got hurt. So they bring in Mike Fiers. They bring in Edwin Jackson. They bring back Brett Anderson. They get Trevor Cahill right again. I mean, Trevor Cahill can be absolutely nasty. The guy's got a great curveball, sinker ball pitcher, gets ground balls, but he wasn't pitching that well. And they bring him back to the A's, and he starts pitching well again. So I mean, this is a team. I think he came up with the A's. So I mean, you gotta love it. Gotta love what they're doing there in Oakland. It's pretty awesome. And then obviously the Astros, they need to get healthy. They need to get healthy, and they need to start hitting because their pitching isn't going to go anywhere. Their pitching is going to stay where it is. Verlander's been fine. Cole's been great. Keuchel needs to right the ship a little bit. Warren's been great. McCullers needs to get healthy, and that's about it. everybody else needs to get healthy, and I think they'll be just fine. They have a better roster than they had last year. They have better bullpen than they had last year. They won a game yesterday doing that whole the opener formula like the Rays did. They won a baseball game like that yesterday with Brad Peacock starting the game. So they can do it in many different ways. You just need to get healthy and you need to hit. You need to hit and hit and hit, and they'll be fine for the Astros. And then we did talk about the NL Central, the Cardinals. I mean, the Brewers. I don't know what the Brewers are doing. They're kind of just treading water right now. The Cubs haven't been able to hit, but they actually have been pitching well enough to stay in first place, even though they lost 3 in a row. But you lose 3 in a row, you're still 2.5 up because the Cardinals came out from third place to leapfrog basically the Brewers, who have lost 1 now. The Brewers are 3.5 back, but it is what it is there. Looking at the NL East, of course, we had a little flip-flop action over the weekend with the Braves stealing back first place from the Phillies, as the Phillies have lost 3 in a row. The Braves have won 2 in a row, so that's kind of how it works. It can go back and happen again, and you can see the Phillies on top by the end of next weekend too. So it's kind of up in the air, and it goes there. Look, those two teams are just so similar. They're so similar. They're both young. They were bad for a while, and then now they're good, and they both have good, interesting pitching with a mixture of veterans and youth for both of them, with Arrieta in Philly, and then you got Tehran and Foltynewicz, if you want to call him a veteran. I think he is in Atlanta, and then you have the young guys with Newcomb, and Soroka isn't pitching that much. But they actually did get Anibal Sanchez down there in Atlanta, and then obviously in Philadelphia you have the four horsemen basically with Nola, Eflin, Pivetta, and Velasquez. Velasquez being the senior of those ones, I think of any of them. Obviously you have the ultra senior, the veteran in Jake Arrieta. So that one will figure itself out as well. It's going to go. I think those are going to go down to the wires. We've looked at their schedules; they're very similar. I think they do play each other coming up again. All those head-to-head games are going to mean so much because you just make so much ground in a weekend, or in one series. You can make up ground. So looking at the Phillies, they're playing the Nationals right now. They got the Blue Jays over the weekend before they come home for the Nationals and the Cubs. So they still play. They do play the Braves 7 more times. It's all at the end of the year. They have 7 against the Braves on the road, and they go to Colorado for 4 more. They have back-to-back 4-game series, which is crazy. And then they have 4 against the Braves right there. So that'll be an interesting little stretch. I think that's going to decide the National League East there at the end. All right, let's do the games for today and tomorrow. I'll give you the probable pitching matchups as we'll start in New York. It'll be Noah Syndergaard for the Mets against the Giants. Casey Kelly will make a second start. He actually pitched pretty well in that first one, but did take a loss, but he pitched nicely in his last start out there. For the Giants, he'll face Syndergaard. The Blue Jays and Orioles have actually already got started. They're in the bottom of the third inning. The pitchers for that one, as I hit the wrong button, and of course that better not play. Stop. My bad app, of course, has the radio, and it starts playing. There you go. Stop. Thank you. As the starting pitchers for this one were Pannone. Is it Pannone? Thomas Pannone or Pannone? It's Pannone. It depends. I'm saying Pannone. And then you have the Orioles. I think it's Hess. David Hess there for the Orioles. Reds and Brewers from Milwaukee. It'll be Freddie Peralta against Stevenson for the Brewers. That's Robert Stevenson. Twins and White Sox, Kyle Gibson against Carlos Rodon. Rangers and A's, it'll be Mike Minor against Edwin Jackson. Astros and Mariners, Charlie Morton against Marco Gonzalez. Braves and Pirates, Julio Teheran against Trevor Williams. Phillies and Nationals, Zach Eflin against Steven Strasburg. Cubs and Tigers against, it will be John Lester against Francisco Liriano. Pair of lefties there, that'll be a good one. Indians and Red Sox again, it'll be Carlos Carrasco against Brian Johnson. Royals and Rays, Jacob Junis against, this is Stanek for the Rays making the opener, Ryan Stanek. And then Yankees Marlins, Lance Lynn against Trevor Richards. Padres and Rockies, it'll be Jacob Nix against John Gray. Angels and D-backs, it'll be Adrisamer Despaigne against Clay Buchholz. And then Cardinals and Dodgers, Jack Flaherty against Walker Buehler. And then on Thursday, quickly, as we'll do it, Mets and Giants again. Bumgarner hasn't pitched well. He did not pitch well at all last time out, but he's facing DeGrom, so maybe he'll amp it up a little bit for this game in New York. So Bumgarner and DeGrom from New York tomorrow. Indians and Red Sox, it'll be David Price against, this is actually, Plutko is coming up. Adam Plutko coming up to make a start for the Indians. Phillies and Nationals again, Aaron Nola against Max Scherzer. White Sox and Tigers now. It'll be James Shields, and the Tigers have not announced a starter yet for tomorrow. Padres and Rockies, Joey Lucchesi against Kyle Freeland. Braves going to Miami to face the Marlins. It'll be Sean Newcomb against a starter to be determined for Miami. Royals and Rays will be Tyler Glasnow being the opener for the Rays. The Royals have not announced a starter yet for tomorrow. The Reds and Cubs, Anthony DeSclafani against Cole Hamels. And then the A's and Twins, it'll be Trevor Cahill against the Twins starter is going to be Cole Stewart for that game, as he'll make a start. His third of the season, I think, for the Twins. Or maybe his first start, because he's been in 2 games and he has 7 innings pitched total, so I don't think he's only started 2 of them. But his third start for the Twins. All right. We'll see you guys we'll talk to you guys later on Friday. Have a good Wednesday. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.